Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all to Asian Education Group Orientation Program of PGDM 2022. Dear students, with a great joy and immense pleasure, I feel privileged to welcome our guest of honor today, Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee, Director General and CEO of the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, who has virtually joined us for this orientation program. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let me introduce you to our guest for this occasion, a man who is known as the father of corporate social responsibility for our country, Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee. He was instrumental in framing and issuing the CSR guidelines for public sector enterprises in April 2010. Thereafter, he played a major role in the inclusion of Section 135 in the Companies Act of 2013 and in the framing of the rules thereafter. As the DG and CEO of the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, he superheaded the National Foundation for Corporate Social Responsibility. Dr. Chatterjee is also widely acclaimed management practitioner, social and sustainable development, corporate responsibility, and human resources. So joined the Indian Administrative Services in 1975 and has held many distinguished positions. Dr. Chatterjee has most recently authored his latest book entitled Sustainable Futures, Imperatives for Managing the Social Agenda. You surely are a great source of inspiration, sir. I request you to please address the gathering.
Thank you very much. Let me at the very outset express my heartfelt thanks to the management and the leadership of the Asian Education Group and the Asian Business School for giving me this opportunity to be with all of you here today and to address my beloved younger generation students who are entering more or less the very initiation of their career in this wonderful educational institution which is called the Asian Business School. I was listening very closely to the speeches that have taken place prior to my address, and I can only feel the kind of very warm, very positive vibes coming from all the three speakers. I am quite amazed at the kind of commitment, not just professional, but also personal, coming from deep within. The desire to put each one of yourselves literally on the line to ensure that you discharge your responsibilities to your students, whose parents have placed them at your disposal. The trust in faith that they have reposed in you, individually and professionally, as an institution, to mold them, to cast them, to prepare them, to launch them into a whole new universe where they will transition from school and parental control into the real world of the professional world, where challenges will abound and where each one of you students will have to find a space for yourself, a career for yourself, and at the end, as Dr. Marwa said, it is going to be about self-fulfillment. You must be true at the end of it all to your inner self. And at the end, when you look back on your life, will you have fulfilled the goals that you have set out for yourself in these 2 years that you work your way through this very wonderful educational environment that the Asian Business School is offering to you? In a way, you are also blessed, my dear students. You are entering your management career, shall we say, in the shadow of a worldwide pandemic. A challenge the world has perhaps not faced for more than a century. Even the greatest economic turndown or downturn of 2007-8 was not even a speck to what we are going through today. But As you enter in the shadow of the pandemic, you will emerge in the sunshine of the post-pandemic. After 2 years, pandemic will be written in the pages of history, and you will look back upon that as something that changed not only just your life, not only just the lives of people around you, but the lives of the whole planet, the very humanity of which we are a part. We already saw that the leaders of your institution not only just preach innovation, they also practice it. And I'm so happy to see that they made that transition from regular classroom teaching and a campus life to some form of distance education. And yet, I would hate to use the word distance. Somehow they used that opportunity and to use modern technologies to understand a new world and to pitch themselves so that you were always proximate. The old times when we were in the Ministry of HRD and we were developing IGNU and other forms of education, we used to use the word distance education. But today we have managed to bridge that distance, change the format of everything we do, keep the proximity and the closeness and the synergy between faculty and students ongoing. So even though there are no physical meetings, the mental faculties are tuned to each other, the vibrations have grown stronger, and we at all times feel connected. Even in this situation, when your inauguration is being done through what you might call a platform, an electronic platform, yet there is so much vibrancy in the proceedings. It really is a great step. My congratulations to the faculty without any exception at all. There are 2 or 3 things I wanted to say to my dear students today. One, of course, I must say, Dr. Srivastava put very well, is that in these 2 years, there will be a lot of professional development inside you. Your institution will develop you as a professional in many ways. You will learn many techniques, whether it be communication or presentation or ability to network, and many other professional attributes will be imparted to you by your institution. But the discovery of who I am, what do I want from life, also calls for much close introspection within yourself. As you interact with the world around you, spend a little time every day to ask yourself, what is the course that I am charting out? At the end of the day, the great creator has not created everyone as clones. Everyone has an individuality which he or she calls her or his own. Your own deep inside you is what you need to develop. What is that going to be? What do you want out of this world? Where do you want to position yourself? The 3 wonderful classifications that Dr. Marwa made, in that 3-tier environment, where do you want to be? And not just where you are, but the ability to create change in the other worlds. If you are at the top, it doesn't mean you've done something great just for yourself. Having got there, can you also change the 2 tiers below you? Can you help others in those 2 tiers below you to join you where you are? So can you then be that agent of change? Can you then be that person who radiates change for the good around you, motivates other people around you? Look at those seated on the dais in front of you at this particular event. Look at each one of them and see how they have been transformational characters, how they have risen to where they are. The laurels that they have acquired are hard achieved. Those laurels are because there is so much effort, there is so much commitment, there is so much desire to achieve something in life. From them, you can understand what aspiration is. Aspirations are not just dreams, because to realize those dreams, believe me, you need a tremendous amount of effort. That effort you must be able to put into what you do. Let me give you an example of changing challenge into opportunity. Even though you might say I was blessed to be in the Indian Administrative Service, but I remember that one of the biggest challenges of my life was to push through the CSR law of 2013. You can imagine, my dear students, that the corporate world would never take to an imposition of the CSR law kindly. And I remember that through all of those years between 2010 and 2013, when we were framing the law, I used to be the corporate world's most famous, infamous, should I say, poster boy. Everyone would love to take a dig at me and say, hey, which is this bureaucrat sitting in some air-conditioned bhavan somewhere, trying to impose a law on us and telling us that we should commit ourselves to society? Who is he and why should he be preaching to us? We know what to do. We are doing CSR in any case, and so on and so on and so forth. Now, when I look back at how difficult it was to pass that legislation in the teeth of such humongous opposition, yet now those very corporates who led the charge against me are thanking me for bringing to CSR a regimen, bringing to CSR the basic formalities and commitment that all the big corporates now have to spend their 2% to the good of society. Another quick example. Recently in the COVID crisis, when it engulfed India, and we saw large segments of our manual labor leaving our urban cities and going back into their villages, how much care they needed, how much effort they needed. And government reached out to whom? Reached out to the whole cross-section of corporates through amending the CSR law and including in Schedule 7 all COVID-related activities. Our leader, the great Prime Minister of our country, he actually brought in a fund, the COVID fund, which now allows corporates to put money into that fund to enable government to tackle this humongous COVID crisis that has engulfed us. And therefore, you see how much of a fulfillment it is to you that you bring change, however small you may think it is. But some years down the line, the leadership of your country actually accesses the very change you made to bring goodness and relief to large swathes of our population who were disadvantaged and who were literally on the road in the face of the crisis. And that, my dear students, is one more inspirational story. You would hear many of them. But I want you to tell these stories 5 or 6 years down your professional life, because you will have achieved changes. You will have done something worthwhile. You will have done something that you are proud of, your parents are proud of, your teachers are proud of. So that search of self-fulfillment begins here. As you enter today, take a bow in your mind. Look through these 2 years, the prism in which you are sitting today, and ask yourself, with this wonderful environment that I have been blessed with, how do I maximize the value of these 2 years? How do I imbibe the best that I can? How do I ensure that I equip myself for the future? And how do I envision a chart for myself that I can go forth into this world and do something worthwhile? Those are the thoughts that I wanted to leave you with. Those are the thoughts which I hope will embellish and motivate you. And look to your leadership, look to your students, fellow students, look to your teachers, look to all of them as an environment that motivates you every day. Dr. Marwa said, it's not enough to just be in an institution. You should love to be there every day. You should love what you do. You should enjoy what you do. And you should ensure that that joyful learning brings to you all the goals that you need for what I call self-fulfillment. Thank you so much, Asian Business School, for giving me this opportunity. I wish all our dear students today a very bright future. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such motivating
Very nice.
and envisioning words.
Thank you.
On behalf of the management, I thank you for providing your gracious presence to us today.